So I'm watching this thing now. Edwards is out of the race, and I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, we kind of figured he wouldn't be able to go the whole distance, and it's really interesting. It's not necessarily because of the platform that he stood upon, but I don't think that, he doesn't strike me as a person who is able to articulate, motivation and inspiration, and I think what the collective consciousness of this country is looking for right now is something it's been looking for a long time, but it's sort of reaching critical mass. And, that is someone who can stand up and, like, we all know, okay, everybody knows Washington sucks. I mean, everybody knows that, so someone standing up and telling us Washington sucks is basically, okay, thanks, but someone who can say, like, all right, so if there's going to be a difference, in this country, in this world, it's got to start with you, and together we can then move that thing. And, and I like that. I mean, what does that translate into? Like, Barack's going to come over to my house every day to help me stay on track? I don't think so. But it means that, there was an element in the Republican in their campaigning in the last 7, 8 years, and that was that they appealed to a lot of people who weren't necessarily Republicans, but had a couple of Republican type ideas. And, and I think most people are like that. Most people are not just, Republican. They're not just Democratic. They're not just independent. They're not just liberal. Like, there's a lot of little places where we agree and we connect. And so, but see, something has to occur to kind of push us to those connections. If left to our own devices, most of us will just kind of settle into wherever we are. And just by the nature of being in that spot, create this kind of sense of isolation from the collective whole. So, so our leaders, there are some things that they have to do. And I can't imagine, any person, whoever gets elected, going into the White House and doing nothing, and so to even hint that on day one or any day that someone won't be prepared, I think it's just, it's really stupid, I mean, this is America, and, the foundation of this country is very, very strong, and it's not going to go away because, this person takes office. Bush shook a lot of trees and did a lot of things, but there's an underlying current that has not been able to be touched, ruffled maybe, but not touched. So, I really wanted to kind of say this whole thing about John Edwards, and I feel the same way about Senator Clinton, Hillary, like she doesn't inspire people to step out of the box. I think she calms the feathers and kind of appeals to that sense in us that is afraid to change, and we just want things that look the same and are the same. And the thing is, like we've we started this journey a long time ago. Just by the nature of the world, we became globally conscious, and just that thought thing alone has expanded our view of things. So, I do resist change, but I recognize that we are growing, and that our youth are already they're already walking around in this change, and they need to have some affirmation and some support and some connection to our elders, and so, and I think this is where politics gets annoying, because our elders kind of are invested in keeping us invested in the idea that they know what's right for us, and we invest them with a certain authority for us, but that doesn't mean that we ask them to think for us. We have to think for ourselves, and So hopefully Edwards will, sit down and really contemplate, like, you know, you can teach a person to fish, but one of the difficulties we've had in this country is that, one person has always wanted to be the guy with the poles. So yeah, I'll teach you to fish, but I want to teach you to fish. I don't want George to teach you to fish or Muhammad to teach you to fish or, whoever. So we have an opportunity now to put a different face to our leader so that people across the board can start recognizing that, inspiration, excitement, power, joy, happiness, all of these things, um, we can get that from from each other. And the very people that we're trying to pull up out of poverty can see you can do this too. And we're not just saying that, as like a feel good statement. Look, you can do this too. So stand up and don't, now stand up, but, you're not standing with, just an idea. Now you've got a concrete picture. Here's proof. Here is the collective consciousness of this country that it says we have grown, we have matured, we are open, we are ready. We are ready to recognize, that the will of a greater power speaks through any one of us, and that is exciting. You know what I mean? Because it means it could be me. It means it could be you. That generally happens anyway. But it can happen flat with no excitement. It can happen, with a wrenching, like Bush having to go to court and rend the presidency out of the hands of I don't know what. Or it could just be like this, if we're going to be a country that asserts itself to be a leader in nations, then we have got to really show that that we are it. We are ready to take the scary steps, the bold steps. We are ready to set a high vision and walk toward that vision. So, Edwards, it makes sense that you would step forward and say to your supporters, like, you know what, our time has come. We don't want politics as usual. I mean, we're going to have politics. There are going to be some things that are going to be the same, but there are going to be some things that are going to be different. And the only way to ensure that that happens is to really support something different. I mean, that's it. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney, but sometimes the guy just makes me laugh. Take the same people and move them back, and then give them a different chair. Come on. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. So we look forward to Edwards recognizing. Also, I just want to say this one last point that healthcare and the economy crisis and all that stuff. That's not new. Everybody is talking about that. I don't think the collective consciousness of this country, though, is really. That's what's coming up out of that voice. I think that's part of it, but I think it's something else. I think it's really saying that it is really time that we really, 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 that we really start showing what we know in our hearts, what we feel in our hearts, what we know to be true, that we start really living that. So, all right, that's it for me.